I'm here to complain today, first of all, about why in the world this camera is so HD and why they keep getting more and more HD also. This is a little pimple patch. I was thinking about how difficult it is for me specifically, because I live in my head and therefore that's the only thing I can speak to, but I'm sure I know everyone has a version of this problem. How difficult it is to start something even though you really, really want to start it, even though you like the idea. It sounds great, you're excited about it, but for some reason it's like, even if you have the time, you're just like, nope, no, what I won't do is that. And I know a lot of it has to do with, like the immobilization has to do a lot with ADHD. I have ADHD, which is a time, but it sucks. It sucks because I feel like I've been meaning to make videos for years. I know I've been meaning to make videos for years. It's always on my list. It's always something I've wanted to do, and never, the primary motivation has never been like, I want to be a YouTuber, or I want, whatever the hell that's about. It's just like, I have things to say, and particularly after this year of quarantine and the pandemic and all of that, I live alone and I have ADHD, so it's been fun. But quite seriously, it's a lot of time for self-reflection, a lot of time with my own thoughts and things like that, and things that I'd want to share and put out into the world, and obviously a need for connection in general is like a theme in my life, and I'm sure in most people's lives, but obviously with this last year even more so. So it just frustrates me. It frustrates me that every time I have the time or whatever, it's like, whether or not I take my meds, whether or not I take a certain kind of medication, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's like, it's still a block in my head for some reason. Like, I want to record music. I have the songs written. I like the songs I've written. They've been written for a while now. And for some reason, it's just like, nope. And I think that I've boiled it down to a couple of things. I think one of the reasons is the starting potential, right? I think for everyone, starting potential is always a little bit difficult, but even more so, of course, with ADHD. So, what do I mean by starting potential? It's like, what gets you started? That's ridiculous. What gets you, what gets the wheels turning, right? Like, what gets you in motion, what gets you that initiating kind of like energy, right? To get up and start doing a thing, even if you don't complete the thing, even if you don't like actually do the thing, it's just like what gets you in motion towards the thing. I saw a really cool, I don't know if it's like a comic or an infographic, I don't know what the right word for that is, but if I find it, I will put it here. It like shows, for a normal person, it's like steps to reach that starting potential, or that starting potential is like steps, a pretty manageable gradation of steps. Yes, there's still steps. Yes, you still have to overcome the steps, but they are steps. And with ADHD, it's like the first step is all the way up here to begin with. Like you need to summon the energy of the entire fucking universe to just get something started. So that's hard, and that was also incredibly validating, but also it's like, okay, great, it's validating and all that, and it's hard, but like, how do you deal with that? Like, what do you do about that? And I have been spending too much time on TikTok, like a lot of us probably have been, and I found this one guy, and I'm forgetting his name now, but he's wonderful. He's like this younger, I think like high school age person, and he posts a lot of tips on ADHD and things like that, and he was talking about like what you need is to like gain momentum, right? It's like trick your brain into doing like the most low cost version of the thing that you're actually trying to do. So for example, if you have a bunch of plates in your room or cups and things like that sometimes happens. If you're already getting up to go get a snack in the kitchen, it's like, I might as well take a plate with me or something. And then because the ADHD mind is so all or nothing, you end up like trying to juggle all the plates and cups because it's like now a game, it's now like a competition or so. I don't pretend to understand why things are this way, but they are. And so it's like a version of tricking yourself. Similarly, if you have a bunch of dishes, I don't know why all my examples are dish-based, but if you have a bunch of dishes in the sink, you're like, okay, I can do one, right? Like that sounds less overwhelming than like, I have to do them all, or I have to like empty the dishwasher so I can put all this in it. Like, no. It's just like, okay, do one. And again, since the ADHD brain is so all or nothing, you end up probably doing all of them. And of course, like all of this has like so many pros and cons, right? Because what if you do end up doing it all and you should have been using that time for something else, right? Like that's what's ultimately super hard. It's always like this dance between strategies, and at least for the ADHD brain, which is the only one I can speak to because that's the one I have. But I would imagine that just getting like small chunks of something done is also helpful to the average person, and probably more helpful because you can stop and like switch between tasks a lot easier than my brain can. So I imagine that would be easier. And so insofar as videos, making videos, which is what this entire fucking thing started with, the ways that I have made it to finally sit here and do this one is that I had like this little stand thingy, like I don't know what you call them, like it's not a tripod, it's like a little like noodly arm thing, whatever, that holds your phone in place. I had it from a demonstration for an art thing that I did for work, and it'd been hiding in a corner of my room for a little while. And I think part of the thing that was stopping me was like, well, I don't have the right equipment, I don't really know like how I would set it up, and I don't know like where the right lighting is at. Like obviously this lighting is fucking garbage, right? The lighting's coming from here, there's no lighting here. Like if we're talking about a produced fucking video, which is where my mind tends to go, and I think a lot of people's brains tend to go like all the way to the end product rather than like starting somewhere. Obviously I'm not like an expert, I'm not well equipped. Those things don't come easy to me because in effect I am learning a new skill, right? This new thing that I'm attempting to do. And in any case, that was one of the main things that was stopping me. The other thing was like editing. I don't know how to edit. I don't know where I would even fucking start. I don't know if it would matter. And then I, of course, watch a ton of YouTube on my own time. And so I know like where people started from, or they just like didn't edit videos at all, or they like edited them kind of like basically, and that's fine because that's where you start. But whatever, your brain sees like everyone else's finished product, everyone else's like finish line, or what you perceive to be their finish line, and you compare against that. But anyway, back to the first obstacle, which was the having the right setup or whatever. What I did was I just put that stupid fucking little noodle arm thing in my living room. And I was like, I have determined that the better lighting is here, and therefore I will put the little arm there to just like lessen the distance between where I am and that like first step, right? Because if you think the first step is like pressing record on the video, then how do you get yourself to even that first step, right? Which like basically implies that that's not the first step, which is my point, right? I think that the ADHD brain, more than other brains, is always like 50 billion steps ahead of something, and that always stops you from getting to that first thing, right? Like it always just like stops you in your tracks, and it's just like this paralyzing effect. There's never any noise in this goddamn apartment until I press record on this phone, I suppose. But in any case, I did that, and I also coincidentally just have a few minutes of that, like maybe you've heard of the ADHD call waiting mode, where like you have an appointment and you can't do anything else until that appointment. But I find sometimes that if that time is short enough, like if it's a window of 30 minutes, usually shorter than that. 30 minutes, I can fuck off with 30 minutes, but like something like that, and I have to, especially if the activity before that is very closely in line with the future activity. For example, what I mean here is I had a meeting for work, I work from home, a meeting at work and then have some downtime where my brain doesn't want to do more work. It can't do anything. It just has to fucking sit there until the next meeting for whatever fucking reason. Sometimes this doesn't happen. Sometimes I can do some work or whatever. But sometimes I can't, like today. And then I'm just stuck like switching between the same fucking 4 apps on my phone, which is useless and annoying and a waste of time. And so after already having done that earlier today in a similar situation where I had some meetings that were weirdly spaced out, I've decided to fucking attach this thing to the noodle arm, my phone to the, you get it. So here we are. And I cannot credit this happening to necessarily just putting the little noodle arm thing. I need to figure out the name of this thing. I'm sorry. I cannot, it's not a tripod. I can't recall the name. The stand, whatever. I cannot credit this being recorded to just having moved that from my room to the living room here. I don't think so, at least, because I think it's very frustratingly the perfect storm, like the perfect alignment of certain things, right? Because I very much could have just kept working on something or whatever. Like sometimes it happens. I very much could have been like, nope, still don't want to. I'm just going to flip through TikTok. You know what I mean? So it's frustrating that a large part of a thing happening or not is very much based on happenstance for me. And again, I'm sure for some people somewhere as well. But it sucks. It sucks because you can't replicate that, right? When things are out of your control, when there are variables out of your control, you can't replicate it with any measure of reliability, which is frustrating when it comes to goal achievement, because everything about goal achievement is just consistency. Like consistency of small increments of effort, which is like just, I think that's the joke for me in my life that the universe is playing on me. Like, you know, people talk about like, oh, the lesson that I'm supposed to learn. Fuck me, man. It is 100% got to do with like either how to crack the code on achieving like those little bits of effort consistently, or how to find an alternative code to not have to do it that way and still achieve. Or I don't know, maybe it's like a question of redefining your understanding of the word achievement, which is great and all, but like if you want to fucking record videos, like the fact of the matter is you need to sit and press record. Like that is bread and butter. That is part and parcel of the whole fucking equation if that's your goal. So like there's no like cracking the code on that one, right? Like you just have to do it. But I guess it's like, instead of putting all the pressure of like, it's gotta be perfectly lit, or I've gotta look perfectly great, or like I've gotta have something planned or know where I'm going with whatever I'm talking about, or like, you know, all of this dumbass crap that just like results in the paralytic sort of, I guess I won't do it at all sort of mentality. I guess maybe that's the code to be cracked here. But yeah, I don't know. Consistency and routine are things that I need in my life, and they're things that I think I have in certain aspects of my life. But in terms of goal achievement, I find it so fucking hard. And specifically, just, you know, living alone and having the brain that I have. And I don't think I know that no one in my immediate friend group, particularly the friend group that I've had so closely through quarantine and this whole fucking mess, no one in this group does stuff like record videos or make music or, you know, the things that I'm trying to do. And so the body doubling aspect body doubling, if you've not heard of this, or this is a new term or whatever, or maybe something you've heard in passing, is like just having someone around and the way that inherently motivates you to just like do a certain thing. Like when I have someone come over and I'm standing in my kitchen talking to them, I'm just already like, oh, I'm here, I might as well do my dishes while I'm talking to them. Like it doesn't require so much focus that it takes me out of the conversation with them, but I need something to do so that I can keep the conversation with them. It's very interesting. So something like that, or just like when you meet up with someone at a library, and they're working on their own thing, and you're just like, it's, that one is more a combination of like environment and the other person being there. But my point is, body doubling becomes kind of hard when it's this sort of stuff like video recording or podcast recording or art or music or whatever, when you don't have someone else that also kind of does that, right? Like I wouldn't be recording this in front of someone, really. Or like, I'm thinking now, like maybe they could be sitting on my patio or something while I do this. I don't know. Brainstorm stuff to think about. But all of this is to say, I hope some of this resonates with some people. I don't think I've necessarily provided some kind of solution, not that that was my goal, but I don't know, maybe hopefully if you find anything helpful in here, and if it's only just validation, then that's awesome. But if you have some strategies or suggestions or something of the sort, they are more than welcome, and I appreciate it. So that's really it. I'm not going to edit this, and just gonna deal with that. I'm just gonna be okay with that. And I guess you'll have to as well. But maybe for the next one, who knows. But yes, thank you for hanging out, and let me know your thoughts.